The paradox of caring and the quest for balance. Have you ever noticed a disheartening irony in the realm of human connection? It's the strange, almost cruel twist of fate where those who pour their hearts and souls into relationships, the ones who care the most deeply and selflessly, often find themselves standing alone, feeling the sting of loneliness and rejection. It's a perplexing and painful experience, akin to offering a precious gift only to have it tossed aside, or extending a hand of unwavering support only to find that the person you're trying to help is pulling away, distancing themselves from your affection. It feels counterintuitive, a baffling paradox that leaves you questioning your actions, your intentions, and even your very nature. The thought creeps in, is caring too much a mistake? Is there a hidden flaw in my empathy, a vulnerability that makes me less desirable, less worthy of love and connection? It's a question that has haunted countless individuals, leading them down a path of self-doubt and confusion, struggling to understand why their genuine efforts to nurture and support a relationship seem to backfire, pushing the object of their affection further away. But before you succumb to the despair of this perceived paradox, know this common experience carries a powerful lesson, a crucial insight into the hidden dynamics of attraction and the delicate balance of human relationships. It's not about suppressing your capacity for love or diminishing your genuine care for others, it's about understanding the subtle nuances of how that care is expressed, perceived, and ultimately, reciprocated. This is not your typical relationship advice, this is a journey into the very essence of human connection, a mindset shift that could forever alter the way you approach relationships and interact with the world around you. By blending the timeless wisdom of ancient Stoicism with cutting-edge insights from modern relationship psychology, we can unlock the secrets to fostering genuine, lasting connections, transforming ourselves into more attractive, grounded, and emotionally intelligent partners. This exploration will not only address the question of why excessive forgiveness and overbearing affection can backfire but will also provide practical tools and strategies for achieving the elusive balance that keeps the spark alive, ignites desire, and fosters a relationship built on mutual respect, admiration, and enduring love. 1. Attachment lowers value, the subtle signals of neediness. Let's confront a hard truth, a reality that may sting but is essential to understand. Women often distance themselves from men who appear to care the most, not because they reject the idea of love itself, but because excessive attachment sends unintended, often detrimental signals. This isn't about dismissing the value of love or advocating for emotional detachment, it's about recognizing the critical difference between genuine affection and the subtle cues of neediness and desperation. The intriguing part is that it's not the act of loving itself that repels someone, but rather the way that love manifests, the subtle ways in which your actions and behaviors betray an underlying sense of insecurity and dependence. When you display excessive attachment too early in a relationship, or even in the initial stages of getting to know someone, you unintentionally transmit a message that can act as a major turnoff, a red flag that raises concerns about your emotional stability and your capacity for a healthy, balanced relationship. The message, though often unspoken, resonates loud and clear: I need you to feel complete. You are my only source of happiness. My world revolves entirely around you. This declaration, while seemingly romantic on the surface, feels heavy, suffocating, and fundamentally rooted in desperation rather than genuine connection. It places an undue burden on the other person, forcing them to become responsible for your emotional well-being, a weight that most individuals are unwilling to bear, especially in the early stages of a relationship. Imagine pouring all your attention, time, and energy into someone right from the start, showering them with gifts, compliments, and constant communication. On the surface, it might appear romantic, a grand gesture of affection, but what you're actually doing is signaling scarcity, communicating that you lack a fulfilling life outside of this relationship. It's as if you're telling them, consciously or unconsciously, that you have no other options, priorities, or interests beyond them, that your happiness is entirely contingent on their presence and approval. Instead of being perceived as a confident, high-value individual with purpose and direction, you come across as someone whose world revolves entirely around them, someone who is seeking validation and fulfillment through their presence. Consider this scenario: you meet someone new, someone who sparks your interest and captures your attention. Immediately, you begin restructuring your days around them, eagerly anticipating their texts and calls, constantly checking your phone for updates. You find yourself canceling plans with friends, neglecting your hobbies, and abandoning personal projects, all in an effort to spend more time with this new person, to solidify the connection and demonstrate your commitment. At first, they might enjoy the attention, basking in the warmth of your affection and the novelty of your presence. But soon, subtle questions begin to surface in their mind. Why is this person so available? Do they have no other interests or goals in their life? Why am I being placed on such a pedestal, elevated to a position of such importance? It's not about playing games or creating artificial distance, it's about recognizing an innate human desire to be with someone who is self-assured, who has their own path, and who isn't seeking validation or completion through another person. True attraction is built on a foundation of mutual respect and admiration, not on dependency and the fear of abandonment. The moment you begin sacrificing your own identity, your own values, and your own passions in an attempt to keep someone by your side, you've already lost them. It's a paradox: the more you try to hold on, the more they slip away. Instead, cultivate your own strength and self-worth, invest in your personal growth, and nurture your own passions. As you transform into a more confident, fulfilled, and independent individual, watch how the dynamics shift, how people are naturally drawn to those who are whole and complete on their own, who radiate a sense of inner peace and self-assurance. Don't be the person who chases approval, who constantly seeks validation from others. Be the person who builds a fulfilling life that others want to be a part of, who inspires and motivates through their own example. This isn't about arrogance or self-centeredness, it's about recognizing your own inherent worth and understanding that true connection is born from a place of strength, authenticity, and mutual respect. 2. Hypergamy, the subconscious drive for the best partner. This is a critical aspect of human relationships that often goes unacknowledged, a subconscious drive that influences our choices and shapes our desires, hypergamy. When someone starts losing interest, when the spark begins to fade and the connection weakens, it's often intrinsically tied to this powerful, deeply ingrained instinct. Before dismissing this concept as shallow, materialistic, or even misogynistic, it's crucial to understand that hypergamy is a deeply rooted biological imperative, an evolutionary adaptation designed to ensure survival and propagate the species. It's not a personal flaw or a conscious choice, it's a fundamental aspect of human nature. Hypergamy refers to the natural inclination to seek the highest value partner available, to gravitate towards individuals who possess qualities that enhance survival and reproductive success. It's not necessarily about gold digging or superficiality, it's about ensuring the best possible future for oneself and potential offspring, securing resources, protection, and social status. This instinct is as ancient as human nature itself, subtly guiding our choices and influencing our preferences, even when we're not fully aware of its influence. Think of it as a subconscious algorithm, constantly evaluating potential partners and assessing their value in terms of their ability to provide, protect, and enhance our overall well-being. You might believe that prioritizing someone above all else, showering them with affection, canceling plans for them, and making them the center of your world will ultimately win their heart, solidifying your position in their life. But in reality, this approach often has the opposite effect, triggering a subconscious evaluation that undermines your perceived value. Why? Because hypergamy pushes individuals to look for signs of strength and high value in a potential partner. When you become overly invested too soon, when you display an eagerness to commit and a willingness to sacrifice your own needs and desires, it triggers doubt and raises questions. If they're this eager to lock me down, are they really the best I can do? Why aren't they acting like someone with other options, someone who is in demand and confident in their own worth? It's not that they don't appreciate your effort or dismiss your kindness, it's that hypergamy encourages them to seek qualities like confidence, independence, and purpose, traits that often appear diminished in someone who seems overly eager and readily available. Consider this scenario: a man who, on paper, seems to have it all: success, confidence, charisma, a desirable lifestyle. He's the ideal partner, the embodiment of success and ambition. But if he starts chasing excessively, constantly texting, rearranging his life for someone he just met, his value diminishes in their eyes, despite his external qualities. His behavior signals a lack of internal abundance and self-assurance, suggesting that his worth is contingent on their approval. This doesn't make them a bad person or imply that they are intentionally trying to devalue you, it's simply an instinct at work, a subconscious drive that influences their perception of your worth. The solution isn't to stop caring or to suppress your genuine affection, it's to care differently, to focus on building your own life, cultivating your own happiness, and developing your own inner strength. Be the person who doesn't need validation, who is content and fulfilled on their own, but is open to connection, willing to share their life with someone who complements and enhances their experience. When you embody this mindset, relationships become healthier, more balanced, and far more fulfilling. Guiding someone towards what they perceive as the strongest, most capable partner is a deeply rooted instinct, an evolutionary imperative that has shaped human relationships for millennia. Hypergamy isn't about finding the richest man or the woman with the flashiest car, it's about being drawn to someone who exudes confidence, self-assurance, and the ability to thrive independently, someone who possesses the qualities necessary to navigate the complexities of life and provide a secure future. This isn't a judgment on character or a condemnation of human nature, it's simply an acknowledgement of the underlying forces that shape our desires and influence our choices in the realm of relationships. The Stoic concept of amor fati, or the love of fate, teaches us to accept and embrace everything that happens in life, including the instincts and behaviors of others that we cannot control. Instead of resenting hypergamy or blaming individuals for these natural tendencies, embrace the reality of human nature, recognizing that it's a force that shapes our interactions but doesn't define our worth. Here's the key takeaway: you cannot control another person's preferences or subconscious drives, but you can control how you respond to them. Use amor fati as a reminder to focus on what you can change: your actions, your personal growth, and your commitment to self-improvement. When you invest in becoming the best version of yourself, when you cultivate your inner strength and pursue your passions with unwavering dedication, you naturally attract higher quality partners, individuals who appreciate your worth and are drawn to your authenticity. You won't need to chase or convince anyone of your value because your actions will speak louder than words, your confidence will radiate from within, and your commitment to self-improvement will be evident in the way you live your life. This is where true confidence originates, not from trying to win someone over or seeking external validation, but from knowing that you are enough, that your worth is inherent and unshakable. Confidence is born from self-respect, a strong sense of purpose, and a commitment to your own growth, regardless of external circumstances or the opinions of others. So, instead of worrying about whether someone is losing interest, instead of obsessing over their actions and questioning your worth, ask yourself, am I living up to my own potential? Am I building a life I'm proud of, a life that is fulfilling and meaningful, regardless of who is or isn't by my side? When you live with this level of self-assurance, when you radiate a sense of inner peace and contentment, the right person will gravitate toward you naturally, not because you chase them, but because you embody the qualities they are instinctively drawn to. 3. Emotional decision-making, the pitfalls of impulsivity. Here's a critical mistake that many men make in relationships, a subtle yet devastating error that can undermine their perceived value and erode the foundation of their connection, allowing their emotions to dictate their decisions. It might feel natural at first, a passionate expression of love and devotion. After all, love, excitement, and passion are powerful forces that can easily take the wheel, guiding our actions and shaping our choices. But when your decisions are driven purely by fleeting emotions, when you prioritize immediate gratification over long-term stability, you set yourself up for trouble, creating a dynamic that is unsustainable and ultimately detrimental to your well-being. Emotional decision-making often leads you down a dangerous path, a slippery slope where you begin sacrificing your goals, compromising your values, and molding your life entirely around another person. While this may seem like an act of love or devotion, a selfless gesture of commitment, it weakens your foundation, undermines your independence, and puts the entire relationship at risk. It's akin to building a house on sand. The initial structure may appear impressive, but without a solid foundation, it's only a matter of time before the cracks begin to show. Think back to the last time you made an impulsive decision to please someone you cared about, a choice driven by emotion rather than reason. Maybe you rearranged your schedule at the last minute because she asked, abandoning a previously established commitment. Or perhaps you abandoned a personal project, a long-term goal that was important to you, to spend more time with her, sacrificing your own ambitions for the sake of immediate gratification. In the moment, it probably felt like you were showing her how much she means to you, demonstrating your willingness to prioritize her happiness above all else. But in reality, these choices often send the wrong message, communicating that you lack a strong sense of self, that your values are easily swayed, and that your own needs and desires are secondary to hers. When you repeatedly bend your own needs and desires to accommodate someone else, when you consistently prioritize their happiness over your own stability, you unintentionally communicate that you're willing to sacrifice your own well-being for their approval. Over time, this creates an imbalance in the relationship, a dynamic where one person holds more power and the other becomes increasingly dependent. She may begin to see you as someone who can be easily swayed by emotions, someone who lacks a firm grip on his own life, a man who is easily manipulated and lacks the conviction to stand by his own principles. Ironically, this doesn't make her feel more secure, it has the opposite effect. She starts to question whether you're capable of making strong, rational decisions when it really matters, whether you possess the leadership qualities necessary to navigate the challenges of life and provide a stable foundation for the relationship. A woman desires a partner who can be her rock, steady, grounded, and dependable, someone who can provide emotional support without sacrificing their own sense of self. She's not looking for someone who is tossed around by every wave of emotion, someone who lacks the emotional maturity to make sound judgments and stand by their convictions. A healthy relationship is built on a strong foundation, a foundation of mutual respect, trust, and equality. And that foundation starts with you, with your ability to make rational decisions, to prioritize your values, and to maintain a sense of self-worth that is independent of external validation. If your decisions are driven solely by how you feel in the moment, if you consistently prioritize short-term gratification over long-term stability, you're building a house on sand. It might stand for a while, appearing sturdy and impressive, but eventually, the cracks will show, and the entire structure will crumble under the weight of emotional instability. Prioritizing logic and reason doesn't mean suppressing your emotions, denying your feelings, or becoming a cold, detached robot. It means integrating them thoughtfully, acknowledging their presence, and understanding their influence, but ultimately making choices that align with your values and long-term goals. Your emotions can inform you, providing valuable insights and guiding your intuition, but they shouldn't command you, dictating your actions and clouding your judgment. A strong man doesn't ignore his feelings, burying them deep inside and pretending they don't exist. Nor does he let them control him, allowing them to dictate his behavior and cloud his judgment. Instead, he acknowledges them, embraces them as part of the human experience, learns from them, and then chooses actions that align with his values and long-term goals. This kind of emotional discipline creates stability and trust, qualities that are not only rare but deeply attractive. It signals maturity, self-awareness, and the ability to navigate the complexities of life with poise and grace. The Stoic philosopher Seneca taught that true wisdom lies in acting according to our principles, not just our desires. In the heat of the moment, when emotions are running high and impulses are strong, it's easy to make a choice based on what feels good, whether it's avoiding conflict, indulging a fleeting emotion, or trying to win someone's approval. But Seneca reminds us that these impulsive decisions often lead us astray, compromising our values and undermining our long-term well-being. Instead, we should strive for clarity, making choices that reflect our core values and our greater purpose in life. Think of your principles as your guiding compass, a moral compass that helps you navigate through the stormy seas of emotions, keeping you on course even when the waves are crashing around you. When you live by your values and make decisions that honor your true self, you earn not just her respect, but your own. You cultivate a sense of integrity, knowing that your actions are aligned with your beliefs and that you are living a life of purpose and authenticity. For example, imagine a situation where she's upset, feeling overwhelmed and emotionally vulnerable. She asks you to cancel an important meeting, a commitment you've made to colleagues and clients, in order to comfort her, to provide emotional support and reassurance. Emotional decision-making might lead you to drop everything, abandoning your responsibility and rushing to her side, thinking it's a sign of love, a demonstration of your unwavering commitment. But if you pause and reflect, if you allow reason to temper your emotions, you might realize that honoring your commitment to the meeting aligns better with your values of responsibility and reliability. By calmly reassuring her that you'll support her after your meeting, offering to listen and provide comfort as soon as you're available, you show balance, demonstrating that you are a man who cares deeply but doesn't compromise his integrity, someone who values her needs but also respects his own commitments. This doesn't mean ignoring her needs or acting cold and indifferent, it's about demonstrating emotional maturity, showing her that you can lead with your head while still listening to your heart. This balance is rare, but incredibly magnetic, signaling that you are a man of substance, someone who can navigate the complexities of life with poise and grace. The next time you feel the urge to make an impulsive decision, a choice driven by emotion rather than reason, take a step back, breathe deeply, and ask yourself, is this aligned with my values? Am I doing this because it's the right choice, the responsible choice, or because it simply feels good in the moment? When you lead with logic, tempered by healthy emotions, when you make choices that reflect your values and honor your commitments, you stand out as a man of substance, a man who commands respect and inspires trust. This is the kind of strength that makes you not just attractive, but truly unforgettable. 4. Craving strength over attachment, the biological imperative. Women are instinctively drawn to a partner who embodies strength and resilience, someone who can provide security and stability, especially in times of uncertainty and adversity. This isn't a superficial preference or a conscious choice, it's a deeply ingrained biological imperative, an evolutionary adaptation designed to ensure survival and propagate the species. When you become emotionally dependent on her, constantly seeking her validation, reassurance, and approval, it triggers an instinctive reaction, a subtle shift in her perception of your worth. She starts to wonder, if he can't even stand on his own, if he's so reliant on my presence for his sense of security, how can he be the strong protector I need, the reliable partner who can navigate the challenges of life and provide a stable foundation for our future? This isn't always a conscious thought, a deliberate evaluation of your strengths and weaknesses, it's often a subconscious assessment, a deeply rooted biological response that influences her attraction and shapes her perception of your value. Imagine two types of men, both vying for her attention. The first man constantly needs her attention, checking in repeatedly, seeking reassurance about her feelings, and adjusting his life around her schedule, accommodating her every whim and desire. He believes he's being attentive and loving, demonstrating his commitment and affection. But what he's actually displaying is insecurity, a lack of confidence in his own worth. His actions reveal that he relies on her presence for his sense of security, that his happiness is contingent on her approval, and that he lacks the inner strength to stand on his own. The second man is self-assured, confident in his own worth, and secure in his own identity. He cares for her deeply, valuing her presence in his life. But his life doesn't revolve around the relationship, he's focused on his purpose, pursuing his goals with unwavering determination, and investing in his own personal growth. While he enjoys her company and cherishes the connection they share, he doesn't depend on it for his happiness, recognizing that his own well-being is his own responsibility. Now ask yourself, which man is more attractive? Which man exudes the qualities that are most appealing to a potential partner? The answer is obvious, it's the second man. He stands strong on his own, demonstrating through his actions that he can handle whatever life throws his way, that he possesses the inner strength to navigate challenges and maintain his composure in the face of adversity. This kind of inner strength is magnetic, radiating a sense of confidence, leadership, reliability, and self-control, qualities that women are biologically wired to find appealing, traits that signal the ability to provide, protect, and ensure the survival of offspring. The biological roots of attraction. There's a reason women are drawn to strength over attachment, a reason that goes beyond superficial preferences and delves into the depths of human evolution. It's tied to a subconscious need for security and protection, a fundamental desire to align with someone who possesses the qualities necessary to ensure survival and thrive in a challenging environment. Throughout history, strength symbolized survival. The strongest men could protect their families, provide resources, and lead their communities, ensuring their continued existence in a world filled with danger and uncertainty. While weaker men relied on others for support, lacking the capacity to defend themselves or provide for their families. Even in today's modern world, where physical strength may not be as crucial for survival, these instincts haven't disappeared. They still influence attraction dynamics in profound ways, shaping our preferences and influencing our choices in subtle yet powerful ways. When you show emotional dependence or clinginess too early in a relationship, when you constantly seek reassurance or display a fear of abandonment, it sets off alarm bells in her subconscious, triggering a subtle shift in her perception of your worth. She begins to wonder, if he's this attached now, this reliant on my presence for his sense of security, how will he handle challenges later? Can he stay calm and collected when life gets tough? Can he provide the emotional stability and support I need in times of crisis? It's not that she doesn't want a loving and caring partner, she does. But she also wants someone who can show love without losing himself in the process, someone who can provide emotional support without becoming emotionally dependent, someone who can offer strength and stability without sacrificing their own sense of self. Strength through Stoic wisdom. The Stoics had a timeless philosophy about strength, a profound understanding of the source of true power. They believed that true power comes from within, not from external validation or the approval of others. As Epictetus famously said, no man is free who is not master of himself. To become truly attractive, to cultivate the qualities that naturally draw others towards you, you must first become self-reliant, developing a sense of worth that is independent of external circumstances or the opinions of others. Your sense of worth shouldn't waver based on someone else's opinion of you, their fleeting moods, or their conditional approval. When you embody this principle, when you cultivate a sense of inner strength and self-assurance, you become the kind of man who doesn't need others to validate his existence, who is content and fulfilled on his own, regardless of external circumstances. This independence is incredibly attractive, signaling that you are a man of substance, a man who doesn't crumble under pressure, a man who can navigate the challenges of life with poise and grace. Women aren't looking for someone to carry emotionally, someone who needs constant reassurance and validation. They're seeking a partner, someone who can stand beside them as an equal, not a project to be fixed or rescued. They want someone who can offer support and strength without becoming emotionally dependent, someone who can lead when needed, providing guidance and direction without sacrificing their own independence. Be the man who stands tall, who radiates confidence and self-assurance, who embodies strength and resilience. Here's the reality: if you're constantly seeking her approval, if you're consistently bending over backwards to please her, you'll become a burden rather than a source of strength, a drain on her energy rather than a source of inspiration. Instead, focus on building yourself up physically, mentally, and emotionally, cultivating your own inner strength and developing a sense of self-worth that is independent of external validation. Be the man who cares deeply, who values her presence and cherishes the connection you share, but doesn't lose his sense of self in the process, doesn't sacrifice his own values or compromise his own goals. Show her that while you value her and cherish her presence in your life, you're strong enough to walk your own path, to pursue your own dreams, and to maintain your own sense of identity, regardless of her approval or disapproval. This doesn't mean ignoring her needs, neglecting her feelings, or acting cold and indifferent. It means being grounded in your own identity and principles, demonstrating that you are a man of substance, someone who values connection but doesn't compromise his own sense of self in the process. When you develop this kind of inner resilience, when you cultivate a sense of worth that is independent of external validation, you naturally become the partner she craves, the kind of man she is drawn to instinctively. You're no longer just another man seeking her attention, another face in the crowd hoping for her approval. You're the man she wants to stand by, the man she admires and respects, the man she knows has the strength to weather any storm together, to provide a stable foundation for their relationship, and to lead them both towards a brighter future. 5. The slow fade, recognizing and responding to withdrawal. Women rarely leave a relationship in a sudden, dramatic exit, a theatrical display of emotion that leaves everyone reeling. Instead, they often choose a quieter, more gradual path, a subtle withdrawal that unfolds over time, the slow fade. It starts subtly, almost imperceptibly. She begins texting less frequently, her replies become shorter and less enthusiastic, plans feel less spontaneous and more like obligations, and her warmth, once a comforting embrace, starts to fade, leaving you feeling a chill in the air. On the surface, things might seem fine, appearing normal and unremarkable. But underneath the veneer of normalcy, her gradual withdrawal is intentional and deliberate, a calculated distancing designed to create emotional space and prepare for a potential separation. The slow fade is rarely a spur-of-the-moment decision, a sudden realization that the relationship is no longer working. It's usually the result of accumulated doubts, unmet emotional needs, or a growing sense that something in the relationship isn't right, that the connection has weakened and the initial spark has faded. Rather than confronting the issues head-on, engaging in difficult conversations, or expressing her dissatisfaction directly, she may begin creating emotional space, distancing herself from the relationship and testing the waters to see if she truly wants to leave or if the relationship can somehow be salvaged without a dramatic confrontation. It's a safety mechanism, a way to emotionally detach before making a final decision, a subtle way of preparing for a potential breakup without causing a scene or enduring a painful confrontation. Why men miss the signs? Men often miss the subtle cues of the slow fade because they are emotionally invested in the relationship and primarily focused on their own perspective, their own feelings, and their own desires. They assume that as long as she hasn't explicitly said anything, as long as she hasn't expressed any overt dissatisfaction, everything must be fine, that the relationship is still on solid ground. But in reality, her actions are speaking louder than words, communicating her growing dissatisfaction and her desire for distance in subtle yet unmistakable ways. If you're not paying close attention, if you're not attuned to the subtle nuances of her behavior, these subtle cues will go unnoticed, leaving you blindsided when she eventually decides to end things, feeling confused and betrayed, wondering what went wrong and why you didn't see it coming. When deeply invested in a relationship, when you're emotionally committed and hopeful for the future, it's easy to overlook the signs of dissatisfaction, to rationalize her behavior and convince yourself that everything is still okay. You convince yourself that she's just busy with work, stressed about a personal issue, or going through a temporary phase, a fleeting moment of unease that will soon pass. But deep down, you sense something has shifted, a subtle change in her demeanor that suggests a growing distance. Admitting this truth is difficult because it forces you to confront a painful reality: she might be pulling away, questioning the future of the relationship, and preparing to move on. Seeing the signs through a Stoic lens, Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, emphasized the importance of seeing things clearly, without allowing emotions to cloud our vision or distort our judgment. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In the context of the slow fade, this means observing her actions objectively, without letting fear or desperation dictate your response, allowing you to assess the situation rationally and determine the best course of action. When you notice her pulling away, when you sense a growing distance in the relationship, don't panic, don't succumb to fear or desperation. Instead, practice mindful observation, paying attention to her behavior without immediately jumping to conclusions or allowing your emotions to take over. Ask yourself, is she making an effort to see me, to spend quality time together? Is she initiating conversations or making plans, demonstrating a genuine interest in connecting? Does her tone and demeanor reflect genuine interest and enthusiasm, or is there a sense of detachment and indifference? The goal is not to analyze every minor interaction, dissecting her every word and gesture, but to step back and see the bigger picture, to identify patterns and trends that suggest a consistent withdrawal. Is there a consistent pattern of withdrawal, a gradual distancing that suggests a deeper issue? If so, it's time to address the situation calmly and thoughtfully, to engage in an open and honest conversation, and to determine whether the relationship can be salvaged or whether it's time to move on. How to respond? The slow fade is not necessarily the end of the relationship, it's often a signal that something needs to change, a sign that the connection has weakened and that action is needed to rekindle the spark. Here's how you can respond effectively: addressing the situation with courage, honesty, and self-respect. Acknowledge your emotions. It's natural to feel hurt, confused, or even panicked when you sense someone pulling away, when the person you care about seems to be distancing themselves from you. Take a moment to process these feelings privately, allowing yourself to experience the full range of emotions without judgment or self-criticism. Journaling, meditating, or simply taking a walk in nature can help you clear your mind, gain perspective, and approach the situation from a place of calm rather than desperation. Have an honest conversation. Once you've gathered your thoughts and processed your emotions, address the situation openly and honestly, initiating a conversation with your partner and expressing your concerns without accusation or defensiveness. Instead of blaming her or making assumptions, focus on understanding her perspective, creating a safe space where she feels comfortable sharing her feelings and concerns. You might say, "I've noticed some changes in how we're connecting lately, a subtle distance that concerns me. I want to make sure everything is okay and see how you're feeling about us, to understand your perspective and address any concerns you may have." This opens the door for her to share her feelings and concerns without feeling attacked or judged, fostering a more open and honest dialogue that can lead to resolution. Focus on your growth. The slow fade often happens when the relationship becomes imbalanced, when one person becomes too dependent on the other, sacrificing their own needs and desires for the sake of maintaining the connection. Use this as an opportunity to refocus on your own goals, passions, and self-improvement, rediscovering your independence and cultivating a sense of self-worth that is independent of the relationship. When you show her that you are confident and grounded in your own life, that you are pursuing your own goals and cultivating your own happiness, you naturally reignite the qualities that initially attracted her, reminding her of the person she fell in love with. Accept what you cannot control. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you can only control your own actions, not someone else's feelings or choices. If she decides to leave, if she determines that the relationship is no longer viable, accept it with grace, understanding that you cannot force someone to stay if they are not fully committed. Clinging or trying to convince her to stay will only push her further away, reinforcing her decision and undermining your own self-respect. The strength in letting go. Ironically, one of the most attractive things you can do when faced with the slow fade is to demonstrate emotional resilience, showing her that while you care deeply, you respect yourself enough not to cling to a relationship that isn't mutual, to recognize your own worth and prioritize your own well-being. This doesn't mean giving up easily, abandoning the relationship without a fight. It means recognizing when your efforts are no longer making a difference, when the other person has already emotionally detached. Women are drawn to men who can handle challenges with calm and clarity, who can navigate the complexities of life with poise and grace. By staying grounded, maintaining your composure, and demonstrating emotional resilience, you not only preserve your self-respect, but also show her that you're capable of navigating life's difficulties with maturity and grace, qualities that are deeply attractive and often rare. 6. It's all about the feelings she gets. Emotional connection is key. Let's get one thing straight: women don't fall in love with a checklist, a rigid set of criteria that they use to evaluate potential partners. It's not just about how tall you are, how much money you make, or how good you look, although these qualities might catch her attention initially. Sure, these external traits might spark her interest and pique her curiosity, but they're not what keeps her interested over time, what makes her stay, what ultimately makes her fall deeply for you. What truly matters, what seals the deal and forges a lasting connection, is the feelings you evoke when she's with you. It's about the emotional experience you create, the highs and lows, the excitement and comfort, and even the occasional challenge that keeps her engaged and invested in the relationship. If you're too predictable, if your interactions are always the same, if you focus solely on external traits without cultivating a deeper emotional connection, you might seem impressive at first, like the embodiment of success and desirability. But over time, you risk becoming forgettable, fading into the background as she searches for someone who can ignite her passion, stimulate her mind, and make her feel truly alive. The emotional experience. Have you ever noticed how a woman can be captivated by a man who isn't the best looking in the room, who doesn't drive the flashiest car, or have the biggest bank account? It's because he knows how to make her feel something unique, something special that she can't find anywhere else. He's unpredictable, spontaneous, and creates moments she remembers long after they've happened, forging lasting memories and building a deep emotional connection. This is the kind of man who leaves an impact, who stands out from the crowd because he understands a key truth: attraction is rooted in emotional connection, not in ticking off a list of desirable traits. On the other hand, you could be conventionally attractive, tall, fit, successful, the embodiment of physical perfection and material wealth. But if your interactions with her are always the same, if you're predictable in your words and actions, if you don't stir a range of emotions within her, she'll eventually lose interest, feeling bored and unfulfilled. This isn't because she's shallow or demanding, it's because her attraction isn't based on logic or reason, it's based on how you make her feel when she's around you, the emotional experience you create when you're together. Breaking the checklist mentality. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking you need to check certain boxes to keep her interested, to believe that you need to possess a certain level of wealth, status, or physical attractiveness to maintain her attention. But here's the reality: you could have all those things and still struggle in relationships if you don't understand the importance of emotional engagement, if you fail to cultivate a deeper connection that goes beyond superficial traits. Women are intuitive, possessing a keen sense of emotional intelligence. They can sense when a man is leading with his resume rather than his heart, when he's trying to impress her with his accomplishments rather than genuinely connecting with her on a personal level. It feels hollow, insincere, and ultimately unsatisfying, like you're trying to impress her instead of genuinely connecting with her on a deeper level. Instead of obsessing over external factors, things you cannot easily control, focus on what you can control: how you show up, how present you are, the energy you bring into every interaction. Are you fully engaged, truly listening and responding with authenticity, or are you just going through the motions, reciting pre-rehearsed lines and pretending to care? Are you creating meaningful moments, building lasting memories, or are you relying on surface-level traits to maintain her interest, hoping that your physical attractiveness or material possessions will be enough to keep her around? Living with authenticity, as Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You can't control how she feels, what she thinks, or what her ultimate decisions will be. But you can control the kind of man you choose to be, the qualities you cultivate, and the values you embody. When you live with purpose, authenticity, and passion, when you pursue your goals with unwavering dedication and express your emotions with honesty and vulnerability, you naturally create an emotional experience that draws people in, captivating their attention and inspiring their admiration. This isn't about pretending to be someone you're not, adopting a false persona to impress her or manipulate her feelings. It's about becoming the best version of who you already are, embracing your strengths and weaknesses, and striving to live a life that is aligned with your values and your passions. Confidence, presence, and authenticity are far more captivating than any checklist of traits, any collection of material possessions, or any display of superficial charm. What she remembers: at the end of the day, women remember the feelings you give them far more than the words you say or the things you own. They remember the excitement of being around you, the comfort of your presence, the way you made them feel seen, heard, and understood. They remember the laughter you shared, the adventures you embarked on, and the moments of genuine connection that forged a lasting bond. It's not about being perfect, flawless, or superhuman, it's about being real, authentic, and vulnerable, allowing her to see the true you, imperfections and all. When you can evoke a range of emotions, joy, curiosity, passion, and even a little bit of tension, you create a powerful, lasting connection, a bond that transcends superficial traits and is rooted in genuine emotional intimacy. Your commitment. So, instead of focusing on building a checklist of traits, instead of obsessing over your appearance, your wealth, or your social status, work on becoming a man who can offer an emotional experience she can't find anywhere else, a connection that is unique, authentic, and deeply fulfilling. Lead with authenticity, embracing who you are, flaws and all, and let your interactions flow naturally, without pretense or manipulation. This is what creates true attraction, a connection that is based on genuine emotion and mutual respect. This is what makes you unforgettable, a presence she cherishes and a connection she values above all else. 7. The need for imagination and fantasy, keeping the spark alive. Women thrive on imagination and fantasy. They are drawn to the excitement of the unknown, the thrill of possibility, and the allure of what could be. It's not about escaping reality or indulging in frivolous daydreams, it's about cultivating a sense of wonder, embracing the potential for adventure, and keeping the spark alive in a relationship. When you're too available, too predictable, or always present at her beck and call, you strip away that sense of mystery, diminishing the excitement and leaving no room for her imagination to wander. You kill the thrill, replacing it with a flat, predictable routine that feels more like an obligation than an adventure. Without mystery, there's no anticipation, no excitement, just a monotonous cycle of predictable interactions that fail to ignite her passion or stimulate her mind. Why mystery matters? Why are women often captivated by stories of romance and adventure, filled with twists, surprises, and unexpected moments? It's because these stories feed their desire for an emotional journey, a narrative that isn't obvious or laid out from the start. It's the what-ifs, the moments of uncertainty, and the anticipation of what's coming next that keep them engaged, invested, and eager to turn the page. When you're overly available or predictable, when you're always within reach and your actions are always easy to anticipate, you take away the unknown, stifling her imagination and diminishing her sense of excitement. You become like an open book she's already read cover to cover, comforting perhaps, but no longer exciting, a familiar presence that lacks the allure of the unknown. If you're always there when she calls, if you drop everything to be with her at a moment's notice, and if she knows exactly how you'll respond in every situation, there's no room left for curiosity, no space for her imagination to fill the gaps and create a sense of anticipation. Living a life of purpose and adventure, the Stoics believed in embracing challenges, pursuing passions, and living life fully, without reservation or fear. As Seneca famously said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, it is because we do not dare that things are difficult." In the context of relationships, this means daring to live a vibrant, fulfilling life that sparks excitement and curiosity, a life that is filled with purpose, passion, and a willingness to step outside your comfort zone. When you follow your own path, pursuing your interests with unwavering dedication and embracing the challenges that come your way, you naturally create an aura of mystery and adventure that is irresistible, drawing others towards you and inspiring their admiration. This isn't about playing games, manipulating her emotions, or manufacturing false intrigue, it's about genuinely cultivating a dynamic lifestyle, a life filled with exploration, purpose, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. The power of authentic mystery, when you live with passion and purpose, when you are genuinely engaged in your own life and driven by a desire to make a positive impact, you don't need to pretend to be mysterious or distant to keep her attention. Your genuine excitement for life, your unwavering commitment to your goals, and your willingness to embrace challenges will naturally draw her in and make her want to be a part of your journey. Women crave more than just stability, security, and companionship. They want the thrill of an adventure, the excitement of a journey, and the opportunity to share in your triumphs and your challenges. By bringing imagination and fantasy into the relationship, by cultivating a sense of wonder and embracing the unknown, you become more than just a partner, you become an escape from the mundane, a source of inspiration, and a spark of excitement in her world. How to bring adventure into your relationship: pursue your passions, invest time and energy in your hobbies, your interests, and your personal goals, cultivating a life that excites you and fulfills your sense of purpose. Whether it's exploring new hobbies, traveling to new places, or setting ambitious goals, your genuine enthusiasm for life will create a sense of intrigue, drawing her closer and inspiring her to share in your experiences. Keep evolving, don't settle into a predictable routine, allowing the relationship to stagnate and lose its spark. Continue learning, growing, and discovering new interests, expanding your horizons and challenging yourself to step outside your comfort zone. When you evolve as an individual, the relationship evolves with you, remaining dynamic and exciting. Embrace the unknown, try new things together, taking risks and embracing spontaneity. Whether it's trying a new restaurant, embarking on an impromptu road trip, or taking a dance class, shared experiences build memories and deepen emotional connection, strengthening the bond between you and creating a sense of adventure. Give her room to wonder, don't overshare every detail of your day, leaving some things unsaid and allowing her imagination to fill the gaps. Let her wonder about your experiences, anticipate your next move, and create her own fantasies about your life, fostering a sense of mystery and intrigue. The impact of imagination and fantasy. In the end, it's not the checklist of qualities that makes her fall in love, the superficial traits that attract her attention initially. It's the way you make her feel, the emotional journey you create, and the sense of wonder you inspire. By bringing a sense of imagination, mystery, and excitement into her life, you create an emotional journey she doesn't want to end, a connection that is both fulfilling and exhilarating. 8. The power of controlled indifference, the paradox of desire. The more you show you're willing to walk away, the more she wants to hold on. This isn't about being cold, uncaring, or manipulative, it's about displaying controlled indifference, a subtle yet powerful quality that signals self-respect, emotional stability, and an understanding of your own worth. It's not the same as acting disinterested, playing games, or trying to manipulate her emotions to gain an advantage. Controlled indifference is rooted in genuine self-respect and emotional stability, a deep understanding of your own worth that is independent of external validation. It's the calm confidence that says, I want you, I value your presence in my life, but I don't need you to feel complete, to find happiness, or to define my worth. When a woman senses that you're not afraid to lose her, that you possess the inner strength to walk away from the relationship if it no longer serves you, it flips a psychological switch, triggering a fundamental shift in her perception of your value. Suddenly, you become the prize, the person she feels compelled to win, the object of her desire. The allure of what's just out of reach. Think about the allure of something just out of reach, a desirable object that is tantalizingly close but not easily obtained. The more elusive it is, the more we crave it, the more we're willing to work to obtain it. This is basic human psychology. We value what we can't easily have, we're drawn to challenges, and we're motivated by the prospect of achieving something that requires effort and dedication. When you demonstrate controlled indifference, you signal that your world doesn't revolve around her, that you have other interests, priorities, and relationships that are equally important to you. This subtle detachment piqued her curiosity. She starts to wonder, why isn't he chasing me like everyone else? Why isn't he constantly seeking my approval? What makes him so confident, so self-assured? What does he know that I don't? This curiosity builds desire, making her more invested in the relationship and more determined to win your affection. On the flip side, when you're constantly seeking her approval, bending over backwards to make her happy, and showing fear of losing her, you inadvertently push her away, diminishing your perceived value and undermining her attraction. Instead of seeing you as a confident, self-assured man who is worthy of her attention, she starts to view you as someone who lacks options, someone who is desperate for her approval, and nothing is less attractive than desperation. What controlled indifference really means. It's crucial to understand that controlled indifference isn't disinterest. It's not about ignoring her, neglecting her needs, or acting cold to manipulate her feelings. Instead, you're showing that while you value her presence in your life, you also value yourself, your time, your energy, and your freedom. You're willing to let things flow naturally, without forcing the relationship, without compromising your own values, and without sacrificing your own goals. This kind of energy is compelling because it's authentic, rooted in genuine self-confidence, not a calculated strategy designed to manipulate her emotions. Mastering the balance. The man who masters this balance, who can navigate the complexities of attraction with poise and grace, becomes irresistibly attractive. He doesn't get flustered by her tests, doesn't lose his cool when she challenges him, and doesn't allow her attempts to manipulate him to derail his focus or undermine his confidence. He isn't swayed by her attempts to make him chase, doesn't fall for her games, and remains grounded in his own values, his own goals, and his own sense of self-worth. He values his own time, his own energy, and his own freedom, recognizing that his worth is not contingent on her approval or her presence in his life. This doesn't make him aloof, arrogant, or uncaring. It makes him the kind of partner she feels lucky to be with, the kind of man she admires and respects, the kind of presence she cherishes in her life. He's the man she wants to win over precisely because he's not trying to win her over, the man she's drawn to because of his strength, his independence, and his unwavering sense of self-worth. The wisdom of Stoic detachment. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught us the importance of detachment from external outcomes, the ability to find peace and contentment regardless of external circumstances. He said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." In relationships, this means not placing your happiness, your self-worth, or your sense of security in the hands of someone else's approval. When you practice detachment, when you cultivate a sense of inner peace and self-sufficiency, you're no longer consumed by the fear of where the relationship is heading or how she feels about you in every moment. Instead, you focus on being the best version of yourself, living according to your principles, and letting things unfold naturally, without forcing or manipulating the outcome. The freedom of controlled indifference. This attitude is liberating. It puts you in control of your emotions and your happiness, freeing you from the tyranny of external validation and the fear of rejection. You're no longer a slave to her responses, her moods, or her conditional approval. You're the master of your own destiny, capable of finding joy and fulfillment regardless of her presence in your life. Controlled indifference isn't about manipulation, it's about valuing yourself enough to walk away if necessary, to recognize your own worth and prioritize your own well-being. When you show her that you're a man who respects himself, who is confident in his own worth, and who isn't afraid to lose her, you shift the dynamic, fundamentally altering her perception of your value. She realizes she's the one who needs to work to keep your attention, to earn your affection, and to prove that she's worthy of your presence in her life, not the other way around. The magnetic power of self-respect. Remember this: the most magnetic men are those who are confident in their own skin, who don't chase after validation, and who live life on their own terms. They are the men who are secure in their own worth, who are driven by a sense of purpose, and who are unafraid to stand alone. By embracing controlled indifference and practicing Stoic detachment, you become that man, the one who is strong, self-assured, and ultimately irresistible. You cultivate the qualities that naturally draw others towards you, inspiring their admiration and igniting their desire. As we wrap up this comprehensive exploration of the dynamics of attraction and the pitfalls of excessive caring, let's reflect on the key insights we've uncovered and the profound implications they hold for our relationships and our personal well-being. Why does showing too much care and affection sometimes backfire in relationships, pushing the object of our affection further away? It's not because love itself is the problem, because caring deeply is inherently flawed, or because expressing affection is a sign of weakness. It's about how that love is expressed and perceived, the underlying motivations that drive our actions and the subtle signals we transmit through our behavior. When affection turns into attachment, when caring transforms into emotional dependency, and when love becomes a desperate plea for validation, it creates a dynamic where the other person feels overwhelmed, suffocated, or worse, trapped. The very thing meant to draw you closer, to strengthen the bond between you, can actually drive a wedge between you, creating distance and resentment. This brings us back to the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, a philosophy that has guided individuals for centuries towards a life of virtue, resilience, and inner peace. The Stoics teach us to value self-control, to cultivate self-respect, and to prioritize the importance of focusing on what we can control, our own actions, our own responses, and our own internal state. In relationships, this means leading with confidence, with inner purpose, and with an unwavering sense of self-worth. Instead of losing yourself in the pursuit of someone else's approval, instead of sacrificing your own values and compromising your own goals, you remain centered, grounded, and true to your values, navigating the complexities of human connection with poise and grace. When you adopt this mindset, when you embrace the principles of Stoicism, you naturally become more attractive, not because you're trying to manipulate or deceive, but because you exude the qualities of a strong, independent partner, someone who is worthy of admiration and respect. You don't chase after validation, you don't seek external approval, and you don't define your worth based on someone else's opinion of you. Instead, you create a life that others want to be a part of, a life that is filled with purpose, passion, and authenticity, inspiring those around you to strive for their own personal growth and to live a life that is aligned with their values. Finding the balance, it's not about caring less, about suppressing your emotions or denying your capacity for love. It's about caring wisely, about expressing your affection in a way that is genuine, authentic, and respectful. Show affection, but do it from a place of abundance rather than scarcity, offering your love freely without expecting anything in return. Give love, but don't make it your sole source of identity or happiness, recognizing that your worth is inherent and unshakable. Maintain your own interests, your own goals, and your own passions outside of the relationship, cultivating a life that is fulfilling and meaningful regardless of your romantic status. This balance keeps the dynamic healthy, prevents neediness and codependency, and allows love to flourish without losing your sense of self, without sacrificing your own well-being, and without compromising your own values. Before we wrap up this comprehensive exploration, ask yourself these important questions. Am I living in a way that reflects my values and aspirations? Am I compromising too much of myself for someone else's approval? Am I prioritizing my own well-being and cultivating my own happiness? The answers to these questions could be a powerful revelation, shedding light on areas where you may be sacrificing your own needs and helping you shift your approach to relationships moving forward. Take these insights and apply them to your life, transforming your interactions and cultivating deeper connections. Be the man who is confident in his own skin, who offers love without losing his identity, and who leads with strength and authenticity, inspiring those around him to strive for their own personal growth. When you embody these qualities, you won't just be the kind of partner women are drawn to, you'll be the kind of person who feels fulfilled and at peace, regardless of the relationship's outcome, living a life that is aligned with your values and driven by your purpose.